Here is the full rewritten script with grammar corrections, word fixes, and American English throughout, same events, same length, same tone. The laugh died midair. It wasn't dramatic. No glass shattered. No scream. Just a sound choking itself to death in a backyard full of smoke and meat and summer heat. Someone had been telling a story. Someone else was flipping burgers. My wife's best friend, barefoot, wine-drunk, reckless, tilted her head at me like she was finally bored of pretending. So she said it, loud enough to bruise the silence. "When are you going to leave her?" The grill hissed. The cicadas kept screaming. Everyone else stopped breathing. I felt the sentence land before I understood it. It struck my chest, then my throat, then settled behind my eyes like a countdown. I turned toward her, slow, careful, as if sudden movement might detonate whatever she had just dropped between us. She blinked, smiled. Realized. "He's wet," she said, the words slurring into clarity. "He doesn't know." The quiet after that was surgical, clean, precise, the kind that cuts without blood. I remember the smell first. Charcoal and rosemary. My wife's perfume drifting from the patio. I remember the way my heart didn't race. It recalibrated like a machine recognizing a new setting. I smiled. That part mattered. I took a sip of my beer. Cold. Bitter. Familiar. I nodded once, as if she'd asked me to pass the salt. "Know what?" I asked. No one answered. Not her. Not my wife. Not the people who suddenly found their phones fascinating. That was the moment. The hinge. Everything before it fell backward. Everything after it snapped into place. I had loved my wife in clean, unremarkable ways. Grocery list stuck to the fridge. Morning coffee poured without asking. Her head on my chest at night, listening to my heart like it was a promise that wouldn't change its mind. Betrayal doesn't erase those memories. It weaponizes them. I remembered the first time she introduced me to her best friend. How close they stood, how they spoke in glances. I'd admired it then. Loyalty, history, a language I didn't need to translate. I remembered late nights when my wife said she was out decompressing. The way she kissed my cheek instead of my mouth when she got home. The way she'd started showering immediately, like the night needed to be scrubbed off her. At the time, I told myself I was lucky. A wife with friends, a life without drama. I replayed those moments now with a different soundtrack. The bass heavier, the lyrics crueler. I thought of the small absences. The way her phone was always face down. The way she laughed a beat too late at my jokes, like she was checking somewhere else first. Love makes you generous with explanations. Betrayal feeds on that generosity. Suspicion didn't arrive all at once. It seeped. It was the way her best friend stopped looking me in the eye. The way conversation shifted when I entered the room. The way my wife flinched, not physically, but emotionally, when I touched her unexpectedly. I started noticing patterns. Tuesdays and Thursdays, work drinks. The same excuse, polished smooth from repetition. I lay awake at night listening to her breathe and felt something settle in me that wasn't anger yet. It was alignment, pieces sliding into the only configuration that made sense. I didn't confront her. That would have been emotional, loud, wasteful. Instead, I watched. I listened to what wasn't said. I counted the minutes between texts. I memorized her lies, not to catch her in them, but to respect the craft. She was good. Almost impressive. I wondered how long she thought she'd get away with it. I wondered how long she thought I'd stay in the dark. The proof came quietly. It always does. She left her laptop open one morning. Not a mistake. She trusted me. That trust was the most intimate thing she'd given me in months. The messages weren't poetic. They never are. Logistics, hunger, timing, the banality of destruction. I didn't read everything. I didn't need to. I read enough to feel the temperature of the room change inside me. No tears, no shaking hands, just a shift. Pain crystallizing into purpose. I closed the laptop exactly how I found it. I kissed her goodbye. I told her to have a good day. And somewhere between the door and my car, I stopped being hurt. I became patient. Revenge isn't rage. Rage is sloppy. Revenge is accounting. I didn't rush. I refined. I cataloged dates, locations, names. I learned the rhythm of their affair like a song I could conduct with a flick of my wrist. I rehearsed my face in the mirror. Neutral, pleasant, unchanged. I planned meals. I hosted dinners. I became the man no one suspects because he's too stable to crack. The barbecue was my idea. Casual, friendly, a cross-section of our lives. I invited coworkers, neighbors, her parents, her best friend, of course. I watched her drink more than usual. Nerves, I guessed, or guilt curdling into courage. I let her. When the moment came, I didn't pounce. I let it breathe. After the question, after the silence, after the realization bloomed across her drunk face like mold, I set my beer down. Her eyes were wide, calculating, begging without asking. You should tell them, I said gently. Since it's already out. She opened her mouth, closed it. So I helped. I spoke slowly, clearly, each word a nail placed with care. I thanked her best friend for her honesty, for confirming what I already knew. I thanked my wife for the months of deception, for the creativity, for the discipline. Faces fractured around me. Shock, confusion. A few gasps that sounded like relief, they'd suspected, too. My wife tried to speak. I raised a hand. Not now, I said. I believe you've spoken enough. I pressed play. The screen lit up on the patio TV, messages, photos, timelines. Everything I'd collected, arranged like an exhibit. I'd learned something important during my research. People believe what they can see. The sound was unbearable. Notifications chiming, murmurs swelling. Someone swore. Her best friend cried, loud, ugly. My wife collapsed into a chair like her strings had been cut. I stood there, untouched by the noise, watching consequences take their first breath. Chaos doesn't need encouragement. It performs on instinct. Her parents left without a word. Our neighbors stared like they just watched a building implode. Someone knocked over a chair. Someone else apologized to me, as if that could rebalance anything. My wife reached for me. I stepped back. I already left, I told her. You just didn't notice. The police weren't called. No fists were thrown. The destruction was social, psychological, permanent. That's the kind that lasts. The house was quiet after everyone left. Too quiet. Like a crime scene after the tape goes up. I packed a bag, not in anger, but in completion. My wife sat on the floor, surrounded by the wreckage of her life. Mascara streaked, voice gone. She said my name once. It sounded unfamiliar. I didn't answer. Some people mistake silence for mercy. It isn't. It's a boundary set in stone. Now I replay it sometimes. Not because I miss her. Not because I doubt myself. I replay it to remember the moment I chose control over collapse. Betrayal taught me something brutal and useful. Love is not protection. Awareness is. I don't feel victorious. I feel aligned, like I finally stepped into a version of myself that doesn't negotiate with disrespect. Revenge didn't heal me. It clarified me. And clarity, I've learned, is the sharpest blade of all.